Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to talk about how you can sign up your users into your app anonymously with the help of Firebase authentication. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, in the previous episodes we have created our UI and today we are going to finally sign in with our app into the Firebase authentication. Okay, let me just show you what we are going to build out in the next two episodes, because I am going to make two episodes of what I have already created in my testing Firebase authentication app. Authentication, sorry, it's authentication, not authentication, if I ever misspelled that. Okay, here we go. Let me just build this on my iPhone 10 simulator and show you what we are going to build out today. Okay, let's just wait for that. Until you do that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. And of course, you can also tap on the bell to get notified when new videos come. So here we are inside our basic app, and as you can see here, we have a sign out button. This sign out button will be added in the next episode, but for now, let us just sign out. Okay, and here you can see the basic screen. Let me just stop this and build and run again so you may see how the app launches. It simply says welcome and sign in anonymously. Now if we tap, then we are signing in. You see that we have a spinner there, well, a HUD that shows the user what is actually happening. We are signing in into the Firebase database, well, not the database, the authentication service. We are going to talk about the database later on too, but for now we are just signed in, and it says successfully signed in anonymously with UID, and here we have our UID. And if we take a look at the Firebase console, then we will see that this UID is actually registered there. We will take a look at it in action when we code it. And of course, you can always sign out if you wish, or you can just cancel that out. And that is it. Now if I build and run again, we don't have to sign in, because as you already set up in the previous videos, we are checking if we are signed in, and we are indeed signed in, and we are presenting the user with our home screen. Now that is what we are going to build out in the next two videos. So let's get started and let me just close this and minimize it, and let's take a look at the Firebase authentication as it is right now. And let me just build and run so we see that everything succeeds. And how is the state of the app? Well, it basically loads our sign up controller that we have created, and here we will add our button. So before we even start to code, let me just make a little bit of cleanup, and that is we are going to rename this sign up controller with a welcome controller, because we are going to add a sign up anonymously, log in with Facebook, log in with Twitter, with GitHub, sign up and log in with email. So signing up, making this title as sign up, it's a little bit confusing. So I will just change this to welcome. Okay, and since this is a welcome screen, we need to change the controller's name, so we may actually know what we are doing in the code when we come back later on in a few months' time, if we do. So let's just highlight this and hit Command and click on it and select rename. And as of Xcode now, this is a cool renaming feature. You just rename your controller throughout the whole project, and that is a really cool thing. So welcome, and I will just add this in the comments too, so it will be welcome controller. Just click on the plus. Now you have the minus while the remove button there, but just click on the plus button, and of course the file name should be renamed too. So there we have it. We have renamed this to welcome view controller. The next step is to go into the main tab bar controller where we instantiate our welcome controller, and as you can see it has been changed, but according to good coding practices we should change our constant's name too. So again, let's rename this, and we should change our sign up controller to be welcome controller. Good stuff. And finally our navigation controller should be renamed too. So instead of sign up navigation controller, we will choose welcome controller. And that is it. We have refactored our code, and let us just hit Command R and build and run, and we will see that everything succeeded, and we have our welcome navigation item title here. Okay, now we welcome. Oh, I have misspelled this, so let me just quickly fix this. Welcome with an E. Okay, maybe let me just double check here if everything was okay. And here we have our welcome controller. Welcome controller. Good stuff. Now, let us just move on because time is passing. So, we are going to add a button here. And for that, we are first going to, well, let's create our button first. Okay, we're not going to import anything just yet. We are going to create our button, and I already know that it will need some outside resources. So we are not going to create it as a let, we are going to create it as a lazy var. Okay, it will be a UI button, and let me just create this button here. So we may get that fading in and out of the button when we are actually tapping on it. So let us just return our button here. And that's it, we have created our button. Next up, we want to add this button to our view controller. So let us create a new file private function here. If you have watched my previous videos on LBTA components, this is fairly easy for you to recognize. So I will cover this setup views inside our view did load. And here we are going to set up our views. First of all, we are going to add the sign in anonymously button as a subview to our view. Let me just build here with Command B and sign in at subview, sign in anonymously a button. Okay, now that we have added our subview, we need to anchor it. Okay, and now just type sign in anonymously button, anchor, and I will choose this huge one, and I will anchor it to the top, to the left and right, and make it a height of 50. So view dot safe area layout guide, and if you don't know what safe area layout guide, go ahead and check out that video on my channel. It basically doesn't allow these views, actually the button, to go over the top on the iPhone 10 device. So view safe area layout guide, top anchor left, view dot safe area layout guide dot left anchor. Okay, and the bottom will be nil because we are not going to anchor it in any way. So right is our views safe area layout guide right anchor. Now the top constant, I don't want to actually put it right below this navigation bar, so I will just have a constant of 60. And of course the left constant should be 62, and the bottom constant 0, and the right constant 60, with constant 0 because it is going to anchor it to the left and right anchor of our view. So there's no no reason to add a width constant, and a height constant 50. That should be okay. Now let's just hit Command B and get rid of that error and see that build has succeeded. Good stuff. Now what I want is let's just build and run and see if something actually gets displayed on the scene, and I believe it is not, because we are not adding anything to this sign up button. It's just a simple sign up button without any text, without any background or corners. So we are going to add that now. So first of all, let's add our text. And the control state should be for normal. Okay, let's build and run and see that that change took place. Okay, next up is that we want to, there it is, we want to actually change this sign in anonymously because it is rather too default. So I will just add a background color and the text color and of course rounded corners. So let's start with our background color. So button dot background color, and for now let's add it a plain old red. I believe that should compile correctly. Let me just hit build here. Maybe I just need to add UI color, but no. And now let's add let's set our title's color. So a button dot set title color, and I will choose here white. And for the UI control state of a normal. Okay, that is it. Now let us just hit Command R and see the changes. Okay, we have a red and a sign in. Okay, that is quite good. What I want to change here now is, well, let's set the font of this title to be bold and a little bit bigger. Okay, and for that we are going to type in here bottom font, and I will choose bold system font of size, let's say 18, I believe is a good choice here. And let's just build and run again and see how that has affected our title. Pretty good. We are going to use this. Now next up, what I want to change, I want to add a border to this button. So for that we are going to first of all, this enables us to add a corner radius. So pretty good. If I do say so myself, I will probably change this to 8 to be more iOS 11-ish. Okay, now these values are, well, going to repeat once I just add all of the other buttons. So I will go into the service file and create some constants. So let's go back into the service, and I'm just going to create the static let constant, and first of all take care of this. I have, okay, now we are all set with the welcome controller. Okay, and first of all let's add our bold system font. So what I'm going to create here in the services file is, let's say, and it will be, let's say 60, because it's a little bit too large for me. Okay, so let's just well, we are not going to copy it. Let's just build and let's see how we are going to add this into our welcome controller. Okay, and here we have it, and I just simply call upon service and button title font size. Okay, next up I want to set the title color, the background color, and of course the corner radius. So let us just create this inside our services. Equals to UI color, and this will be of a white. Okay, next up is static, and I will just add different colors for the different types of sign-ins. So I will just type in here, and that will be a UI color, and I want to have some sort of a blackish color here. So I will just choose this UI color extension that is from our LBTA components. I will just type in here, let's say, what was the color? I believe 54 if I'm correct. Yes, it is 54. So let me just go there. 54, 54, and 54. Now, next up we have our corner radius, so static, and that will be again a CG float, and let it be of, let's say, 7. Okay, let's hit Command B so we may get this into our project completion. And now we want to change some things, and the first one is this set title color, and let's type in your service dot, and title font, title color, button title color, that is correct. And now here in the background color, service dot, button, and background color, sign in anonymously. Good stuff. And now with our corner radius again. Okay, let's build and run again and see all of this in action. Okay, here we have it, sign in anonymously. So now what we want to do is actually add action on this button. We are going to add a target to it. So, and the target will be self, because we are going to create function inside our welcome controller, and the selector will be bound selector, and we will use an Objective-C method here. I will just show you in just a minute what that means, and I will call this, it's a whole mouthful, but it surely expresses what this function does. And the control events is touch up inside. Okay, now let's create this handle sign in anonymously button tab. Okay, I will just create it here, and yeah, I will create an Objective-C function, and it will be named like so. And this is where we will handle our sign in button tab. And for now, let us just print out 1, 2, 3, so we may see that it actually does work. Okay, let's tap on it, and it prints out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good stuff. Now, what is up? Yes, we are going to finally log in, well, sign in or sign up, whatever you want to call it, anonymously, because it is actually handled by Firebase simultaneously. If you are already signed in with a device, then you are taken to that UID's well, user. And for that, we are going to first import here. Let's import, maybe we need to import here again LBTA components. For some reason, Xcode sometimes doesn't really gives us this auto completion, so I just simply close this off and go to my project, so Firebase authentication, and I will just rename our welcome controller. Oh, do we have 2 controllers? Okay, let me just debug this, and let's see. Here we have our welcome controller. Oh, we already did have it, so let me just move this to trash and rename this, and I will just double check. Here we are, that is what we have created. and I will just rename this to Welcome Controller and welcome to live debugging on Rebeloper. Okay, and now let me just open up again our project. So here we have it. We have lost our welcome controller. Let me just remove it, and we are going to add this new file. Okay, welcome controller. A little bit of trouble with renaming this controller, but we have troubleshooted everything, and now we have these completions and the colors. Okay, cornered radius, so let's rename that. A lot of typos from me today. Okay, now we are going to finally call our Firebase auth. So it is pretty simple to log in as an anonymous. So you just type in auth and sign in anonymously. And here we have a completion. So we just hit return there, and we will get back our user and an error here. Okay, and now we need to check for this error. So if let error equals error, and this is, we are going to go in deep, as I have already mentioned in the first video. We are going to type all of this code out as it was a production app. So go ahead and stay with me with this code. So if we do have an error, we want to first print out, let's see, and we are just going to simply append here our error. Okay, this is pretty straightforward, but we are getting this print statement in the log when we are testing it. If you are in a production mode app, the user wouldn't even know that something went wrong. So we need to actually notify the user about this, and we are going to do that with the help of a UI alert controller. But before we just start typing everywhere UI alert controllers, I am going to show you how you can add this pretty neat helper function into the services, and we will just continue signing in after that. So let's go into the service, and let's create a new static function here, and let it be named show alert. Pretty simple. Okay, and once we just hit Command B, this show alert will be available if we call it upon our service with a dot syntax, of course. And now let us create here, well, alert controller. So let, and we will use this with title, name, and preferred style. For the title, let us just type in here for now title, and for the message we will type in here our message. Both are strings, and the preferred style, and let's hit a dot here. There are two types of alert controllers: action sheets and alerts, and for this I will just use alert here. Okay, now next up is that we may want to add an action to this alert. So let's create our action here, and that will be a UI alert action. And here we have again our title, style, and our handler. So the title will be, let's say, OK, and the style will be, here we have console, default, or destructive. So I will just choose, let's say, console is OK, because we are not going to do anything inside our handler. Okay, we are just going to call it nil, so we are going to dismiss it basically. Okay, and now we are going to present our alert on a UI controller, yeah, UI view controller. But for that we need to add here a view controller. So I will just rename this function on and UI view controller. Okay, and now we can access this view controller. So I will just type in here on.present and a view controller, that is our alert, and it will be animated true, and our completion handler, well, nil again, because we don't want to do anything when we do that. So now that we have presented our alert, we need to add this action to our alert. So alert.add action and our action. Pretty good stuff. And now we have shown an alert with title, message, and an action of OK. But I want to go even further. And now I want to make this function call as as usable as possible. And for that, we are going to change all of these. We are going to add here our variables. So the first step is our preferred style. So I would just type in here style, and that will be of type, and I will just right click on here and let's jump to definition. And as you can see, it's an UI alert controller style. So I'll just go back and add it here. And now I can just simply copy out and add the style here. Simple as that. Okay, next up, I want to have the title. And that will be of type string, of course. And I will just type in here our message while we are at it. And again, it is a string. And because these can be optionals, well, if they are nil, then no title or no message and or no message will be shown. I will just make them optional here too. So again, for the title, it's title, and for the message, the optional message. Pretty good stuff. We have added our style, title, and message. Next up is that I want to add as many actions as I want to. So for that, we are going to add here actions, and we are going to add here UI alert actions. And it is, as you can see, an array of UI alert actions. Now, to add these actions, we are just going to, let us just comment this out, these two lines. And now that we do have our actions, we are just going to iterate through all of them. So for action and actions and alert dot add action and action. And this is how we are going to add everything into our alert. Well, all of the actions basically. Now, what else do we need? Well, we need a completion. Maybe we want to do something when this show alert is presented. So let me just jump into this function here, and as you can see, our completion is of type, and this is it. And I will just add in here, just copy all of this out and add our completion here. So completion, and paste that in there, and simply again add the completion there. And let me just remove all of these unnecessary lines, and we are ready with our show alert static service function. Okay, let's just hit Command B and let's see this now in action. But before we do that, let us just add a UI alert actions, well, a default, because we have already added defaults for our completion as nil. So I will just simply create here an array of UI alert actions, and that will be, well, let's see, let me just add here a new action, and it will be a UI alert action, and with a title of OK, and the style as default and the handler as nil. Okay, I will just simply copy this out. Let's hit, well, I will just cut this out and add it here. And now we will have a basic OK action even if we don't provide one. Okay, let's hit Command B and we are ready with our show alert function and we are ready to use it. So let's go back to our welcome controller and let's use it. So service dot and show, and as you can see there are multiple ones. At this time we are not going to need any completion handlers or UI alert actions. We are going to use this first one. So on view controller is our self, because we are inside a UI view controller. The style should be .alert, and the title, well, the title should be, let's say, and the message will be our errors localized description. Okay, and once we do show this alert, we want to return. Pretty good stuff. Okay, now let's test this out, and I will just disconnect from the internet and build this project on our iPhone X simulator. And once we do get a tap on the handle sign in anonymously button, we should get the log statement and our alert. So let's click on that. Here we have our log statement, and I will just make this. So it says failed to sign in anonymously with error, and here is our error. It's a whole bunch of code, but here we have our alert sign in error and with a network error such as timeout, interrupted connection or unreachable host has occurred. Good stuff. Okay, and now let's turn on our Wi-Fi. Okay, what is up next? Well, if we don't have an error, let's print out here and with, and we are going to fetch our user's unique identifier, so UID, and that is our user UID. Okay, and finally we want, when this has successfully signed in anonymously, we want to dismiss this welcome controller. So self.dismiss with animated true and with a completion of nil, because we don't really care what happens after we have dismissed this view controller. And I believe we are ready to test this out. And that is it for the code. Of course, we have here a warning, but this is only for, well, we are eventually going to get rid of this line in the next videos. Okay, one last thing, and this is highly important. It is not inside the code, it is inside our Firebase dashboard. So go ahead and log in if you aren't already logged in, and go to authentication. And here select sign in a method, and let us just enable anonymous for now. So go ahead and edit this and simply click on, well, switch to enable, and of course save this. Okay, and as you can see, it says here enabled, so make sure that is set up. And now let's go back to our Xcode project and let's build and run again. Okay, and let's hit that play button, and let's be careful because we haven't implemented the sign out button just yet. We are going to do that in the next video, but when we are going to sign in anonymously, so we have tapped on that, the view has been dismissed and it says successfully sign in anonymously with UID. Of course, if there was any type of problem, then the problem would be shown in an alert. Of course, now if we have just build and run again, we are not going to see that welcome controller anymore. We are going to be taken straight into the app, and that is how it should be done. So in the next video, we are going to implement a sign out button at the top right corner of our user profile controller. Yes, that is how it is named, and we will be able to sign out. And of course, we are going to tweak the user experience even more by adding that HUD that displays what is actually going on, because sometimes it doesn't really happen in just a click or a flick of a finger when you try to sign up or even log in into your app. It may take a few seconds, and then your app is well, in a bad state because users don't know what they are doing. So we are going to implement that HUD. So let me just finish off this video quick. We have added our button for the sign in anonymously button, and we have added our code to sign in to the Firebase authentication system. So in the next video we are going to implement the sign out, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and as usual I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to get notified each and every time I upload one of these awesome videos. And as usual, I will see you in the next one.